The stock of the day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. With over 17,000 markets and extended trading hours, turn US earnings season volatility into opportunity. Get started at IG.com.
And the stock of the day today is Tesla. So changing it up a little bit today, we've done lots of reporting season coverage on ausbiz.com.au, and there's not a lot of corporate news in the wake of reporting season, but Tesla's a really interesting one. Think about this. The stock fell 28% in February, its second worst month as a listed stock in terms of price performance. And with Elon Musk, the CEO, preoccupied with Doge, Tesla's stock has fallen about 13% since the November 5th elections. Now, it comes as an SEC filing on Monday showed that the Tesla chair, Robin Denham, sold about $33.7 million worth of stock. She also sold the same number of securities last month for gross proceeds of about $43.2 million. It's fair to note, though, that earlier this year, Ms. Denham, alongside other Tesla directors, received court approval for a settlement worth up to $919 million, which requires they return compensation to resolve allegations that they overpaid themselves. Still, it comes down to sales, doesn't it? Tesla sales fell 45% in Europe in January. Sales also fell in California, which is its largest US market, and the company suffered its first annual global drop in sales last year. We've also got the ascendancy of Chinese EV makers. But I think the question is, does this pullback represent a buying opportunity, Mark?
Absolutely, it does. Yes.
Why?
The reason is that it's all short-termism. If you look what happened in Europe, the main catalyst for the drop in sales was Germany, which is the largest market for Tesla, withdrew all of the subsidies for buying electric cars because they had an immediate crisis in their budget because the court reversed a bit of a dodge they were doing on their debt, and they had to balance their books, and they had to do some massive slashing. So they basically cut all subsidies. So straight away went, hang on, I'm now not getting the $7,000 government subsidy, so all sales really went into a slide. The other reason is that the first quarter for Tesla is the changeover for the new Model Y, and that was inevitably going to cause some, it's a natural process when that happens. You've got to get rid of the old stock, get the new one under production, your costs go up, so there's all of that as well. And the Model Y is the biggest selling car in the world, which is quite amazing. And I expect the new one will maintain that position. So it's just
also people defer buying a new Tesla until the new
you've
model
got a new model
comes out.
coming out. Would you buy the other one now? I mean, you get a discount, but the new one's better in all ways.
But any concern as a shareholder that Elon Musk isn't spending a whole heck of a lot of time running Tesla itself?
Well, I don't know. I've always been amazed at what he actually achieves. If you look at his work schedule, he's got like 5 major companies that he runs, and he directs them. But he's obviously brilliant at getting key people in roles that then can implement what he wants and deliver on his kind of time schedules. I mean, he's clearly a genius. And if you look at SpaceX, Starlink, Neuralink,
the Boring Co.
The Boring Company, it is incredible. He's probably the most prolific builder of businesses in history, in our modern history, without a doubt. So I wouldn't bet against him, and his timing sometimes has been off, but he pushes the boundaries all the time. And the thing with Tesla, just talking about Tesla, is if you look at it as a car company, it's very expensive. It's on 130 PE on reduced earnings and so on. But it's not just a car company, it's all about the autonomy and where that's at the moment, which is very, very close, I think, to being realised. And if he is dominant in autonomous driving, I think most of the other car manufacturers will cave and then they'll just license his technology. And then if he dominates that whole area, that is a massive area which is going to generate an incredible amount of money for Tesla shareholders beyond cars. And he's got Cybercab coming out and other stuff. But the really exciting thing is Optimus robots. So if you look at AI, we're going from large language models now into physical usage, which is obviously driving, but the Optimus robot, particularly with the humanoid robots, he's going to manufacture 50,000 this year, which he's using in his factories, and he said he'll be doing 500,000 next year. He's going into full mass production. And that has the potential to be a $15 trillion business. That's all part of Tesla.
All right, so it's a buy.
I don't think that's priced in at all.
Got
and
it.
It won't take long for the market, when they start seeing them and that it's all working, they'll change their tune. It'll be a massive jump. So I would argue this is a really good buying opportunity for a long-term, take 5-year horizon. I'd take a bet that Tesla will be 10 trillion by the end of the decade.
What about you, Michael? Do you have any clients in Tesla?
We do have clients in Tesla, but normally, look, we focus on the Aussie market and gain our international exposure through ETFs and different quality managed funds. But occasionally there are certain clients that want to gain exposure to these things, and we're able to do that directly. I certainly don't know as much about Tesla as Mark would. I have enough trouble, getting my head around all the Aussie stocks, but there's no doubt that there's sort of these two competing views on Tesla. There's the very sort of negative view on him, that he's sort of taking on more than he can handle, that he spreads himself too thinly. But the reality is he's operating these businesses that have the potential to dominate markets or their particular markets for the next 30, 40, 50 years. And if they do end up dominating those markets, trading on, I think it's 90 times PE or something like that, they can grow into that very quickly if their earnings do come through from some of the ventures that he's made. So trying to apply traditional valuation metrics to a business like this when it's a non-traditional type company is a very challenging thing to do. There's no doubt you have to back the individual on this, and that is problematic for a lot of people. But look, you have to sort of back him, I think, in the long term to deliver, not necessarily in all these things at once, but to pull off one or two of the projects that he's working on, the mega projects that he's working on. So given the size of the pullback, if you're going to look to buy Tesla, now is as good a time as any. Obviously, look, some people don't like his political choices and the fact that he's involved himself in that efficiency drive in the US, and that can sometimes pollute the narrative. But from a pure business entrepreneurial side of things, I think he's someone that you probably want to back long term.
So that's a buy. 2 buys for Tesla. Yeah, Elon Musk, prolific in many ways. That's the stock of the day, Tesla.
The stock of the day was brought to you by IG. Turn volatility into opportunity this US earnings season with extended trading hours on over 110 key US shares. Get started at IG.com.